You're watching March to March, presented by California Almonds. Here at the half, it is Nevada with the lead, trying to win 2 games to start this road trip. Darren Goldwater, the former All-American at Gonzaga, Dan Dickow. Both teams started off pretty darn hot. What changed?
Yeah, they did. Both teams got hot early, and it continued for Nevada, but for Utah State, they went ice cold that last 7-8 minutes of the half.
This is going to be impressive. Let's revisit our AT&T fast analysis, our big 4 here from the Wolfpack.
They were as good as advertised. 45 of the 52 Wolfpack points, but in particular, the Martin brothers combining for 33. Cody, typically the setup guy, 7 of 9 from the field for 17 points. Utah State going to climb back in this. They've got to take care of the Martin brothers on the defensive end of the floor.
Dan, there was a lot of talk today after the road game at New Mexico for Utah State about cutting down those turnovers. They gave it up 23 times. It led to a season low in terms of their own field goal attempts. They've done that. We have 3 combined turnovers in this game, but it doesn't matter because the Martin twins are on fire.
You're exactly right. If it wasn't Caleb getting going, it was Cody continuing it. But you're right, Utah State wanted to take better care of the ball. They've done just that.
Nevada closed the first half on a 22-3 run. It spans 7.5 minutes. So the Aggies go inside to Quinn Taylor.
Great execution coming out of the halftime there. High ball screen. Merrill finds Taylor wide open on the roll.
They had some success going inside early. It led to a couple of open threes on the back end. Cody Martin misses his first attempt. McEwen wins it on the ground away from Caroline. Sophomore guard almost dragged that pivot foot. Here's Merrill, 33, a career best on 7 threes. The last game for Utah State. He started well and has cooled off alongside the rest of Utah State. Cody Martin underneath, that's out of bounds.
Alice Cook would like to have that one back. Good find by Cody Martin. Alice Cook just not able to corral it and score. Only the 3rd turnover of the game.
Dan, like you pointed out, that's a low number, but Nevada, generally speaking, doesn't turn the ball over. They're one of the better teams in the country at possessing the ball.
They are, and a lot of that is due to the offensive sets and the isolations that they have. Coach Musselman would rather have guys shoot it than turn it over, but Quinn Taylor, you can't do that. Backing down Cody Martin, who's holding his ground. One bump, you can't give a second bump in front of the official and give a good, smart defender like Caleb Martin the ability to read it, time it, and then take the charge.
That's a good point. The second bump, it was a point of emphasis coming into the year. Took whistle the first bump.
You can get away with the first one, absolutely, but the second one directly in front of the official with the defender gearing up for it is not going to be a good idea.
Brito comes out of there with it. Cody Martin commits the foul. If you miss the first half, the Pack is down to 7 scholarship players. Lindsey Drew, who has been as steady and consistent a player that Eric Musselman has had in his 3 years here. He hurt his Achilles. There has not been an official diagnosis yet, but he hurt his Achilles in the final play of the first half on Wednesday night. He is not even with the team now. So Alice Cook got the start. McEwen trying to bounce off Stevens, maybe get a call. Now it's Brown who slaps it free and eventually saves it into Caleb Martin, and Taylor commits that foul.
Well, the difference in offense from when Utah State got off to such a good start was just the fact that they were playing in space. They weren't forcing things. Quinn Taylor trying to cut Martin off in defensive transition. That's a big, just get back on defense. No need to put your hand in there and give the official the opportunity to make a call, but Utah State has been much more stagnant offensively. They're now going to a 2-3 matchup zone.
Duryea said he doesn't want to play a lot of zone, but he might have to go to it. And the first 3 against it rims out down to Brown. Brown now carries it in against Stevens, who fouled him at the top of the key. That's 2 on Stevens.
His second team foul on Sargent now. Replacing Quinn Taylor.
Well as the team shot it in the first half, both off to cold starts here in the second.
It's kind of like the mountains here. You make the trip from Salt Lake, drive about an hour and a half to get up here to Logan. Temperatures nice and warm in the day, then it plummets at night.
There's a big storm about to roll through here tomorrow.
I've heard.
Nice city of Logan, but I am glad to miss that storm, that's for sure.
They're used to it here. They need some more good snow on the slopes around here. Aggies trying to win their 4th straight game at home. Nevada looking for their 23rd win of the year as Merrill with a tough 2 on the inside. Quickly back on the other end. Hall rims it off right in front down to Caroline.
The ability to go from one end of the floor to the other for Nevada was on full display there, and Caroline not assuming a make, cleaning up the mess. Nice putback.
Caroline's a guy who will throw up wild shots just to go get them.
He's quick off his feet.
Brown was quick off his feet. Catch and release for 3.
Brown, a player who's struggled 2 of his last 3 games. He's been scoreless. His first bucket of the night.
Aggies led it by 8 early on. Then Nevada closed on a 22-3 run. Their largest lead's been 12. Cody Martin has Dargington backing up a little bit. 19 now for Cody Martin.
It's just putting a defender on an island there. Dargington struggling with ankle injuries throughout the season. That's a tough cover to begin with on Cody Martin.
Caleb Martin probably affected that one from Merrill, but it's Brown Jr. who corrals the long rebound. Works in against Hall into a triple team. He's tied up. Possession favors the Pack.
Nevada basketball.
What a start to the collegiate coaching career for Musselman. Last year's Coach of the Year in this league. Regular season and tournament championships. 20 wins now becoming just a regular thing. I thought Caleb Martin was the better deep shooter. That's a deep 2 for Cody, who's been hitting from everywhere.
But Utah State, miscommunication. If you're going to switch, you've got to switch up at the point of the screen so you can take something away.
That lob almost went in. It rims down to McEwen. All wanted that ball down in the fast break. Cody Martin instead works it down to the block to set up the offense.
I think what's so interesting about Nevada's offense is Coach Musselman gives them the freedom to push it in transition quickly and just play. If you get nothing quickly, then he expects you to pull it out and get into a set offensively.
Cody Martin does so many things well. And now he's really running the point in the absence of Lindsey Drew.
He finds guys throughout the year. Tonight he says it's my turn. Create some space, knock it down.
You're watching March to March, presented by California Almonds. Time to take a look at our California Almonds Crunch Time performance.
None other than Cody Martin. He has been all over the floor, 21 points and 6 rebounds. And we're only about 5 minutes into the second half. He's been active, he's been everywhere. And he is a guy that normally fills the stat sheet, but tonight there's an extra emphasis for him to put the ball in the basket, and he's done exactly that.
Dan just said he normally fills the stat sheet. Top 5 in 6 different categories in the Mountain West Conference. Assists, assist to turnover, steals, blocks, minutes. Not scoring, though, where he's got 21, 6 off a career best. Just before the break, Caroline was fouled. Son of Simeon Rice, 12-year NFL vet. His grandfather played for the Bears and is in the College Football Hall of Fame. He's got some pretty broad shoulders himself.
I'm sure he could play a pretty mean tight end or defensive end if he chose to, but had a chance to talk with him before a game I did on CBS Sports a few weeks back, and he said basketball was his first love, always has been. He's loved his time here with Nevada since transferring from Southern Illinois.
Looked like he was having fun with the students before that free throw. They made him laugh. He buried it anyway.
There's a good student section here at Utah State.
McEwen will head to the line. That's the second on Cook. Students turned out here pretty well. They don't have school in 2 days. President's Day on Monday. So the concern was how many would come out here. But they've been loud, especially early on when Utah State.
Yeah, they're traditionally, Utah State has had a really good student section. The numbers aren't what they're normally used to this season because of the break, and also I'm sure because of the ski slopes being right next door and the fact that, as you mentioned, there's no school coming up. Lucky for me, I never got into skiing. I would have probably gotten hurt at multiple points on skis, that's for sure.
Probably got some good slopes around Gonzaga.
Yeah, there's a few mountains up in the Spokane area, but it's not for me. I've tried it, and I stay on the bunny hill, that's for sure.
We got a 10-point game here, 5 minutes into the second half.
So 1-2, 3/4 court pressure now by Utah State. The exact result that they want. A lot of times you're not trying to steal the initial pass. You're trying to get the ball into a non-playmaker's hands, such as Caroline, and allow him to try to make a play and ultimately a mistake.
What do the Aggies have to do here to stay in this game and not let Nevada run away?
Make shots. They were hot to start the game, hit a cold spurt, but right there, that man, Sam Merrill, if he can get it going again, they can climb right back in the game. That was a good look, just didn't knock it down.
It's 4 for 10 now from the floor. I believe he hit his first 3 threes. It may have been 3 out of 4. Here's Cook now. That one's kicked by Taylor. That shot clock will get 7 seconds put back onto it. Nevada comes in as the 24th ranked team in the country. Their win over Boise State on Wednesday was their first win as a ranked team this year. Every time they got into the standings in the rankings, they lost.
This is a good opportunity to get 2 wins in a row while ranked in the top 25 is Caroline with a nice elbow ISO, but you mentioned Utah State. You got to knock some shots down to get back in this. Made 4 of their first 5 from beyond the arc. Since then, 4 of 18. They've gotten good looks, just haven't gone down.
Heads up play at the top of the key there by Cody Martin. Now Caroline. They're really riding him here, letting him drive it to the glass and be physical.
Well, because the other guys, the Martin brothers, have got it going from the outside, it now gives Caroline that much more space to work on the low block and on the elbow.
Brito with the assist to Sam Merrill. Wolfpack have swept Boise State this year, so effectively they've got about a 2.5, 3-game lead on the Broncos in the standings. Pretty good shot to win the lead. Caroline got a little bit too deep. Merrill now flips it back to Brito. And Dargenton gets into the back of Cody Martin.
That was on Alex Dargenton.
So Nevada's at the top of the Mountain West standings as we get a look at it. Utah State, it's all just jam-packed there in the middle, but the key line is the 5 line. And that's where Wyoming is right now. The top 5 teams get a bye. They're only a game back of that.
Yeah, I think the top 2 teams, Nevada and Boise State, have definitely distanced themselves from the pack, but you're right. You want to be in that top 5, and there's about 7 or 8 teams that can creep into that area to get a first-round bye.
Cody Martin just finds it and floats through that teardrop. Second time they've led by 14 here in the last couple of minutes. Largest of the game. Nice job by Hall to stay in front of Merrill.
Doing a much better job is Nevada in guarding pick and rolls, in particular with Merrill handling it.
Caleb was asking for the foul. The baseball pass to Isby.
That's where Coach Musselman can't be happy. Hallis Cook didn't get back in defensive transition, allowing the pass over the top to Isby. If you're on the weak side, you have to read the situation and get back in defensive transition.
Caleb working hard, finds Caroline cutting, but he can't handle the pass. What a fortunate bounce there for Nevada. Martin with contacts. He's got the 2.
Nevada bench wants a call, but good job by Utah State big Dargenton to go straight up and down.
Musselman was asking for the call. Just prior to that, it was Caleb Martin asking for a call. Here's Isby cradling it to the glass. Caleb Martin affects it.
Officials have such a difficult job. Every play, a player or a coach wants something called in their favor. They just have to block out the noise.
Here's Quinn Taylor now, set up in the corner for 3.
His 14th made 3 of the year. Doesn't normally step out and shoot them. Talking to Coach Duryea today at shoot-around, he'll give him a little bit of more freedom as the season goes on. Normally a low-post guy, a great screener, diver, glue guy, but he's growing his skill set.
Merrill with Taylor position there to give him some space. Will that get Merrill on track? They've got it back to single digits. We've been raining in threes today. We got 10 minutes left. This is your only dunk. It's Isby. It's been the story of the year for Nevada. The Big Four in particular, the Big Two, the Twins, the Martins, pacing the way here for an 8-point lead. They're shooting 56% of the pack.
Yeah, Big Four for Nevada has been everything as advertised this evening, but Utah State doing a great job just hanging around. Kobe McEwen, 16 points on the night. Quinn Taylor has provided a nice boost, 11 points, 5 of 5 from the field. They're going to need more production from those two as well as Sam Morrell if they are going to have a chance to win this ball game.
You impressed with how well the Wolfpack have played in their first game without Drew?
Well, yes, I am. I think they are so well coached, and they've got guys that can plug and play in different positions. You're seeing Cody Martin play a lot of point guard today. Hallis Cook has done the same, but you know, I think where they're going to end up being hurt by the Drew injury is guarding perimeters who can put the ball on the deck.
Quick timeouts in succession. Ball's going to stay on this end with the Pack. Toughest sport on dirt takes the stage tomorrow night at 8 Eastern for the St. Louis Invitational. The 25th PBR Unleash the Beast series continues right here on CBS Sports Network. With Dan Dickow and Darren Goldwater, and look who's in the house. Danny Ainge on All-Star break, here to watch his son, a true freshman Crew, who is a part of this Utah State team. You know Danny pretty well, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Danny was a big-time player for the Celtics. I grew up in the Portland area, so I was a fan of his. Actually, in my career, I played for Danny. He signed me to the Boston Celtics. I had a chance to talk with him a little bit before the game and catch up. He's doing a heck of a job. His hire of Brad Stevens from the college game was spot on.
That is one of the best GM president moves in the NBA over the last couple of years.
Yeah, that and getting Kyrie Irving this offseason when he was unhappy in Cleveland. A couple great moves recently for Danny Ainge and the Boston Celtics.
Helped him land Gordon Hayward, too. McEwen bumped off. Now he wants the call. It will stay with Utah State.
Jordan Caroline replacing
Wolfpack trying to start this last 6-game stretch that Musselman said is one of the toughest he has seen in his 3 years with the Wolfpack. Kind of started off with a couple of road wins at Boise State and here at Utah State. Quick release, McEwen. Here's Isby trying to force the Wolfpack to get into their offense. Sticks with Martin, drove him all the way down to the block. And we got a block and a foul that'll send Josh Hall to the line.
Well, that's what makes Nevada so difficult. Martin backs you down. Taylor has to be aware, begins to go double, and Josh Hall with the great cut from the weak side. Taylor late to recover, fouls him, puts him at the line. As good as he's been on the offensive end, he's had some struggles tonight. Picked up a couple tic-tac type fouls, and those are the ones that you have to stay away from early in the game, because as productive as he's been tonight on the offensive end, you're limiting your chances to impact this game now because you just picked up your 4th.
Can't be much more productive than he's been. He hasn't missed a shot. He's 5 for 5, and he's been a solid offensive presence. Now they're down by 12, and he's to the bench in favor of Dargenton. McEwen, almost a no-look pass. He zips it down there to Dargenton, earns a trip to the line.
McEwen has been impressive with his ability to see the floor. Averages about 5 assists a game on the season, but he has a nice mix of attacking, looking to score himself, as well as finding others. That time a good find to Dargenton underneath.
Here we've got Nevada, a very likely tournament team, even if they don't win the Mountain West tournament. Elsewhere around the top 25, Michigan State was getting clobbered by Northwestern. They survived. They win it by 5. And Trae Young continues his struggles. The hope was that Oklahoma gets back home. Trae Young gets back to his early season self. That didn't happen today.
5 losses in a row now for Oklahoma. And it's got to be difficult for Trae Young, because came in with not a ton of expectations, and then he just has exploded onto the scene, and everybody's so focused on him.
Crowd appreciates the effort of Sam Merrill here.
Shoots that passing lane nicely. Good job creating the turnover, and only 2 turnovers in that first half for Nevada. That's now their 4th here in the second half, but you'd like that turnover to have created to an easy opportunity for Utah State.
Now McEwen, notice that Hall sagged off him. They don't want to get into foul trouble through the pack. Back to single digits are the Aggies.
With limited depth, they are willing to concede buckets at times. That's a perfect example of it.
Wow! Look at that one from Henson, swatting it down off the floor. Isby, wow!
Well, the block by McEwen leads to the rim-rattling dunk by Isby. The officials now taking a look at it. Dargenton tossed the ball about 12 rows into the crowd along the baseline. Should be a delay of game warning. The officials talking it over right now. I honestly, in all my years playing the game or now calling it, I've never seen a player throw a ball that far up into the stands in the middle of action.
Duryea is trying to get an explanation here from Roderick Dixon. Meanwhile, a 12-4 run that started with the effort from Merrill on the steal. Then you got the block and the jam, and suddenly the spectrum is alive again.
Well, it looks like we're going to get a second look at it. Dargenton didn't grab it and throw it, he simply batted it. That being said, the officials trying to figure out what the heck to call here. Hopefully they let us know what they do call. I would imagine it would just be delay of game warning.
It's a Class B technical foul on Dargenton. So it allows Musselman to select his guy to take a shot. 2 of them. I don't know, Dan, that's, look, I understand it. He swung the arm and bats the ball up into the crowd, but
it should just be a delay of game warning. I know maybe there's some frustration on his part. They're down 7 points, a chance to climb back into the game after that big-time dunk by Isby, but technical foul there is a little much in my opinion.
Doubled Caroline. He's able to slip it across the lane there to Hall.
Hall has done that a number of times now. Read the defender, his defender going to double or get caught looking at the ball. Nice back cut again.
Martins have been pretty quiet here in this second half. There's Hall getting into the passing lane. It's a 4-on-2. And Hall throws it away.
Aggie basketball, there's a timeout on the floor.
Utah State's back in this thing.
Your USU Spear Squad.
Isby almost brought the roof down here in the Spectrum. Only 2 dunks of the day, courtesy of D'Angelo Isby. Time for the general play of the game. We just saw it.
Kobe McEwen comes up with the big-time block, and D'Angelo Isby gets this crowd into it with the thunderous dunk over the top.
The general play of the game. Nevada down to 7 scholarship players without Lindsey Drew, and they've only played 7 guys here today. But even though they've played fewer, at times it has felt as though the Aggies were the ones that had been dragging.
Well, Nevada has a style where they want to get out in transition as much as they can, and so they're used to playing at this pace. Utah State will run, but a little bit more selective. They've had some injury issues themselves over the course of the year, but the depth has not been a factor like we thought it might for Nevada.
North Texas grad Tim Duryea. Before the game, in fact, earlier today, after the shoot-around, he huddled his guys up on the opposite end of the floor where the ball is right now, right about that free throw line, had them look up at the banners and reminded them that this is Utah State. There's a proud history here at Utah State, a program that has now missed the NCAA tournament in the last 6 years. Trying to inspire them to get back on track against a very likely NCAA tournament team in Nevada. Isby into the chest. You can count it. The fouls on Caleb Martin.
Isby has come to life in this second half. 2 dunks. And that time putting the ball on the deck, getting his shoulders by the defense, who had a poor closeout, and then the finish through contact. And you get the sense for Utah State, they knew, or they figured that Murrell and McEwen were going to have big games. They needed somebody else to step up. Isby's been that guy in the second half, and Quinn Taylor's played well throughout the night as well.
Isby has 7 of his 10 points in this second half. They've trailed by as many as 14. They've got it back down to 6. Cody doesn't like the hands on him here from Merrill. 5 on the shot clock. Caroline fading away.
Tough shot. Utah State, maybe their best defensive possession in quite some time. Murrell forced the shot over the top. Caroline just knocked it down.
Well, that's a shot you could live with if you're the Aggies.
Absolutely.
Aggies have won their last 3 in this building. They've won 4 of their last 5 in here against Nevada. Dargenton with the home court roll.
Down the stretch of games, Nevada's going to go to side pick and rolls with separate actions on the weak side. Again, this time with Cody Martin.
McEwen lost his footing. You could see him slide like he was on some ice. And that gave Cody Martin just enough room.
25 now on the night for Cody. Can't say enough about his game this evening. Utah State, solid defense on this possession. Better offense, Caroline with the follow through, and then Cody Martin in the side pick and roll. Whoop. I can step back, shoot over the top. Good defense, both possessions were beat by better offense.
I'm having fun watching Jordan Caroline play. He is smiling the entire time.
He enjoys it.
He should. One of the co-freshmen of the year in Mountain West last year. McEwen has only built of his initial success. Him and Merrill, really the foundations for Utah State, really a chance for this Aggie team. Whether they can put it together and make a run this year, but next year, the foundation is here.
They're going to have a very solid, experienced backcourt. And the fact is, they'll get some front court players back next year, as well as a shooter in Brock Miller, who've been missing this year due to injuries.
Martin got an elbow up high. It forced McEwen to back up a little bit, and it leads to the bucket.
But again, side pick and roll. That comes from Musselman's time in the NBA. Push comes to shove. Side pick and roll is what happens in the NBA. He's brought that philosophy right to Nevada.
Cody Martin has tied a career high now with 27, and he comes back and takes one away from Merrill. Meanwhile, you think Utah State is poised for some success next year. How about Nevada? They got the Martin twins, who are just juniors, and they've got more transfers sitting out, getting ready to be impactful next year.
You're right, 4 transfers, a number of really good scorers at different programs that just wanted to change the scenery.
This is on the floor. It's against Isby.
That's a difficult foul. Shot clock's winding down. You've got Alice Cook catching the ball about 25 feet away from the basket. Go ahead and gap him, space him. If he rises up, you still got time to contest the jump shot.
Cook got to start in place of Lindsey Drew.
Right back to a side pick and roll. They are going to run that until Utah State can stop it.
This one results in a 3 and a 30-point game for Cody Martin.
And I guess we could put the jack of all trades trademark to a rest, because he's become a scorer tonight.
You called him a Swiss Army knife. I guess he's now the sharpest of the blades. McEwen, a little bit off balance, but he's got his own rebound. And with the left, a chance for 3 the old-fashioned way for Kobe McEwen.
Good. And he finds one more. Foul on number 10. David Martin, his second 19th foul. At the free throw line.
You know, that's not what Cody Martin does best. He came into the game with 9 threes on the year.
Oh, but he's an opportunistic scorer, good, better than advertised shooter. With Utah State, give them a lot of credit. There's been a couple times where they could have folded this evening. Kobe McEwen, in particular, has kept them in this ball game in the second half.
Martin, baseline, Caroline throws it away.
Second time they've shown a little three-quarter court trap, and Caroline has been the one who's made the mistake with the turnover.
And the Aggies capitalized on it. They've been able to get this deficit down to 6 a time or 2. Inside 4 minutes to play. Isby draws a crowd. Haven't been able to get anything generated on this possession, so Brown creates and rims one off.
Solid defensive possession for Nevada. Brown would like that opportunity back. And they're going to go back to the side pick and roll, run some clock off. Get the ball in the hot hand. Cody Martin, 30 points on the night.
Every play down the floor this last 3-4 minutes. There it is again. This time, Utah State forces it out of his hands, into the hands of Caroline for 3. Foul was almost called on that reach-in. There's Merrill bumping off of Jordan Caroline. And that'll take us to our under 4 timeout. Early on, when this game tipped off, it was Utah State that hit 4 of their first 5 threes. Now it's Nevada raining them in. Jordan Caroline into the X. They've got win number 23 in their sights to the Wolfpack, and very similar to wins 1 through 22, the Martin twins have had a huge hand at this one tonight.
Absolutely have. Caleb typically the scorer, but Cody Martin has absolutely been sensational tonight. A new career high 30 points. And the thing you gotta like about it is he's been efficient. 13 of 16 from the field. They continue to put the ball in his hands inside pick and rolls, and he has made play after play down the stretch, whether it's a shot for himself or on the last possession before going to break, finding Caroline wide open at the three-point line.
That's Caleb Martin massaging his foot, and that's the foot where he sprained a ligament a couple of games back. They initially said it could be a 6-week deal, and that would have altered the Mountain West, but he only missed 1 game. You can presume at the moment his night is done unless they need to throw him back in there.
Well, they're limiting his minutes and reps in practice, and he's getting plenty of treatment. But again, run the clock down, side pick and roll with none other than Cody Martin.
Martin gets Dargenton in the air, but he avoids fouling him. Aggies got to push it now, down by 10. This is a 3 from Isby. And it's Cook who wins it for Nevada.
And with the way that Nevada runs the clock down and gets into their side pick and roll, Utah State's got to start thinking soon about, do we foul to extend this game? Granted, you're down 10, you don't want to give free points, but we're running an awful lot of clock off is Nevada.
Cody Martin steps back over Brown. Here's McEwen, bit of a head fake, then the drive, and he's fouled. And that is on Stevens. That fouls out Stevens.
McEwen pushing in transition. There is no quit in that young man. Stevens a little late to recognize, doesn't give up the easy 2. Leads him to a seat on the bench with his 5th foul. Utah State did a good job on him, in particular in the second half. 9 points after coming in blazing hot over the last 4 games, where he scored almost 18 per.
Remember what Tim Duryea said. The goal was to keep Stevens at 6. I think he'll take 9. Meanwhile, I presumed Caleb Martin's night was done. I was wrong. He's the one who has come back in for Stevens. Doesn't look as comfortable jogging back down the floor as he was earlier. We got an 8-point game, though. Less than 2 to play. Wolfpack shooting 58%. The teams have combined for 21 threes. What do the Aggies need to do to make up this 8-point deficit here in about 1:40?
Well, down 8, 1:44. It's not quite over. Go for a quick steal. If not, you're going to have to quick foul. The only problem is Nevada's a good free throw shooting team. Looks like they're going to play this possession out, try to get the ball out of Cody Martin's hand, who's been sensational tonight.
They double him. He looks down low. There's the extra pass from Cook to the cutting Caroline. That was the first time the Aggies doubled Cody Martin out high. That's a foul, and 3 free throws coming the way of McEwen.
McEwen did a good job selling that one, but if you're Hollis Cook, you've got to understand and know. Switch on that pick and roll. Don't get caught rolled underneath and late to the contest. McEwen may have drawn that a little bit.
Fourth straight 20-point game in this building for Kobe McEwen, who now has 25. This is best case scenario for the Aggies. They can get points without the clock.
Now they're going to be back in that same situation. If he makes this next one, you're down 7. I would expect them to try to run it. Cody Martin, get the ball out of his hands. Maybe try to get a quick steal on the first or second pass, and then after that, they're probably going to have to foul.
Brown sizes up Hall. And the foul's not coming yet. They run a double team out at Cody Martin, and Caroline is fouled.
But they ran 16 seconds off the clock. I mean, I get that Caroline's the guy that you want to foul, but time is more precious than who you put at the line right now. You need the ball back.
17 foul. Bonus situation 4.
Jordan Caroline.
Jordan Caroline. Shooting 1-1.
Already has cleared 1,000 points in his career after starting at Southern Illinois. This free throw would give him 1,000 in his Nevada career. And he'll sit on 999.
McEwen's going to push high pick and roll and probably corner shooters.
Look at that thing draw rain. Cody Martin with the two-hand rebound. And it will be Cody Martin to the line. And he's just a 69% free throw shooter.
At the free throw line. Cody Martin shooting 1.
OVC action follows us. At the beginning of the day, Belmont was tied atop the league with Murray State. And they missed 2 front ends of a 1-and-1 to keep the Aggies in this thing. McEwen jumps the pass to the free throw line. Here's Brown now. And the Aggies have sagged back. Down by 7. Now this is deflected. McEwen, a Euro step of his own, and he somehow forced it over the rim. It's just a 5-point game and a foul now on Isby.
His third 19th foul.
Utah State is making Musselman and Nevada earn this thing.
It's gotten interesting, that's for sure. Struggling, handling pressure these last few possessions, but McEwen not giving up on it just yet. The foul by Isby putting Hollis Cook to the free throw line. Hollis Cook, 89% free throw shooter on the season, although he's only taken 18 attempts on the year.
3 trips to the line. They've missed the front end of a 1-and-1 all 3 times. It's a 2-possession game, and McEwen is going to head to the line. This seemed improbable with about 2 minutes to go. But they've been able to get to the line, Dan, and on this end, Utah State's hitting their free throws, and Musselman's group, given the chance to keep their lead, haven't been able to do it.
Well, what Utah State began to do was run a second defender at Cody Martin and get the ball out of his hands. It's put the ball in non-playmakers' hands, and the decision comes a split seconds too late, or it has resulted in a turnover or a poor shot.
So with Cook fouling out, Charlie Tooley, who has played in 11 games this year, is on the floor now for the Wolfpack. Rebound by Caroline and the quick foul.
And that's the big one right there, because Had he made that, it would have been a 3-point game, and it still would have given them some hope. Now it's a 4-point game. Caroline makes both, which isn't a given. He's a good, not a great free throw shooter at 74% on the year. He makes both. It's a 6-point game, and that would almost seal the deal.
They finally got the bonus, and Caroline gets it. So how thin are the Wolfpack now with the injuries? They added 2 walk-ons to their roster last week. David Cunningham is one of them, and he checks in for the 2nd time this year. He was previously on the team, then he wasn't playing this year, and needed him back.
It's a good time to be a student in the rec center.
Couple of threes separate these two with 20 seconds to play. Big screen set by Dargington. McEwen with authority, and a timeout for Utah State.
Caleb Martin hit by a monster screen there in transition, freeing up McEwen. McEwen has been sensational here. Pushing it to the 10, finishing it with the flush. Utah State won't go away.
Well, we've got this down to a 4-point game with less than 15 seconds to play. McEwen has poured in a career-best 32 with that jam. Cody Martin has eclipsed his career high for the Nevada Wolfpack. Utah State told us earlier today, Duryea said, you know, we'd like this thing played in the low 70s. That would benefit us. But he's got him within 4 in a game played in the upper 80s and 90s.
It hasn't mattered, really, because just when it seemed as though the game was out of reach, Utah State wouldn't give up. They started making plays. You got to give them a lot of credit.
So 14.6. Eric Musselman trying to get his group out of here with a road sweep of Boise State and Utah State. They've actually been in Logan now for a couple of days. Didn't shoot this morning, but practiced yesterday. Took in a movie last night. Trying to get out of here with their 23rd win.
Again, if you're Utah State, go for a quick steal. If not, you got a foul. Nevada, be strong. Come to the ball, meet the ball.
It was the Aggies who were stronger. The Martin twins were trying to come to the ball, but couldn't wrestle free.
Well, great denial. When we come back, Nevada has got to get the ball in bounds. Utah State giving them everything they can handle.
There's game reset for you. Both teams are in the double bonus. Nevada's got a couple of timeouts to spare, and Utah State has the possession arrow. Can Nevada get it in this time? They send 2 men deep and get it into Cody Martin. Getting a lot of time off this clock. Almost half of what was left on the clock.
At the free throw line, Caleb Martin shooting 2.
Duryea has to be pleased with the effort. Down by 14 a couple of times in this second half. To get it back to a 2-possession game down the stretch when that seemed unimaginable. Pretty clear what his instructions are.
Don't foul.
Caleb Martin makes it a 6-point game. Here's McEwen now. And that one goes begging as Utah State's 3-game home court winning streak is snapped by a Wolfpack team that keeps rolling along despite the fact that they didn't have Lindsey Drew. The Martin twins were at it again. 53 combined, a career best for Cody with 30. Offsetting a career best for McEwen and Utah State, his 32. As Nevada improves to 23-5 with this 93-87 win. For Dan Dickauer and our entire crew, had fun with you today. Darren Goldwater. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. What a game here in Logan. Now we send you to our CBS Sports Network studios. We got Brent Stover, Wally Zerbiak, Seth Davis, and John Rothstein standing by.